Now, we want to lengthen out through the front of the body. I'll be saying this to you in so many of our videos. The reason for that is we want to give your baby room. Yep, and if you're really closed and short in this area here, it's going to make it more difficult for your baby to have room to move in your pelvis and to grow into your pelvis. And also it's going to make it easier for you giving birth if you're more open in the front of your hips. Now these tendons that run across the hip joint here, there's lots of them. There's tendons of the thigh muscles, but also tendons of the hip muscles that run up into the back. They cross over here and they do tend to be very tight. It's a stress area of the body. Now when we do a straightforward quad stretch, we tend not to really focus on here. We think of stretching over the knee joint, but maybe not so much over the hip. I want you to really focus on the hip and the knee joint together when you stretch your quads. Do have a support. It's much easier if you're using a support, and I'm going to give you some variations using the chair as well. So when you pick up your foot, this is really important. Don't bend and stick your leg out to the side. Bend your knee, bring your leg back, carefully pick up your foot so that you're not twisting and turning too much. It's those little sudden movements that can cause issues. So just be conscious of how you pick your foot up. If you really can't hold on to your foot, I'm going to give you an alternative. So don't worry if you can't do that right now. Just watch this through because there are lots of tips for you, and then I'll show you an alternative as well. But the way we stretch, all the principles are the same. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see from the side. You need to make sure that your knee is in line with the other knee. So you don't want your knee forward. Now you might find that in itself is enough of a stretch just by taking the knee back. But then you've got to engage your core, and this is absolutely essential. So you take a breath, you inhale, you exhale, you relax, you pull up from the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly, and you're drawing your belly in, and then you're pushing your kneecap towards the floor as you push your hip forward and open the hip out at the front. So it's not a question of just pulling your heel into your bottom. It's more a question of pushing your kneecap down and engaging your core and pushing your hip forward. So hopefully you can see me doing that. Then you hold it and you breathe. And as you breathe, you engage your core again and you just push your kneecap down a little bit more and breathe. And lift your belly. Now you don't want to allow this to happen. Can you see what I'm doing here? I'm allowing my belly to hang out. You've got to engage your core and pull your belly back in and try to keep the knee back without letting the tummy go. And that's why your core muscles are really important. Now, if you find that really difficult, you're going to use a chair and you're going to stand to one side of the chair. So I'm going to go here and then I'm just going to put my leg up against the chair. Okay, now what this will do is it enables you to hold your leg in this position and then your hands are free to stabilize your pelvis. So I can now use my hands to help guide my pelvis. I can use one hand into the back and one into the front. So if you're suffering from any kind of issues where you have back pain or you find it really difficult to take a hold of your foot, maybe you can't reach around and hold onto your foot, this is a lovely alternative. And you are now free to just relax into the stretch and concentrate on using your core. So again, you take a breath, inhale, exhale, and then you're lifting up through your pelvic floor and just lifting your belly at the front. And I'm also just gently guiding my tailbone down and lifting my belly from the front. And that's going to really help you to hold the right position and feel this wonderful stretch through these tendons over the hip, but also over the knee joint, and release lots of tension through that line of pull. Okay, right, next one.